grateful to the Almighty God for another opportunity to help the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and the special guest of honor to commission the Nigerian Navy Logistics College, the working Tupa, Kano. Mr. President, distinguished guests, the Nigerian Navy Logistics College, the working Tupa, is a professional training institution saddled with the responsibility of training Nigerian Navy logistic personnel and those of sister services, including the paramilitary organizations and the civilian population. Prior to now, I'm aware that the college was a subset of the Nigerian Navy Finance and Logistics College, Warrington, in Abia State. However, the size of land in Warrington is grossly inadequate to accommodate the desired expansion that will cater for additional infrastructure relevant for training logisticians in line with the current realities and global best practices. These additional and necessary infrastructural requirements include a garment factory, hotel and suites, as well as material testing laboratories for the newly established Project School, among others, which are integral parts of logistic training. Consequently, the Navy Board in the last quarter of 2021 considered and approved splitting of the Nigerian Navy Finance and Logistics College, Orienta, into Nigerian Navy College of Finance and Accounts and Nigerian Navy Logistics College. Accordingly, the College of Finance and Accounts remain in Orienta, while the Logistics College was established at Dawakintopa in Kano State. Let me, at this point, I would like to express our profound gratitude to the Executive Governor of Kano State, His Excellency Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje, for the unflinching support for the realization of this goal. It is worthy to mention that His Excellency the Governor approved the allocation of the vast land covering approximately 103 hectares with existing structures at no cost to the Nigerian Navy. This uncommon gesture, with the support from Mr. President, motivated the Nigerian Navy to commence major rehabilitation works and construction of additional facilities in order to set up a world-class military logistic training institution. Sequel to these efforts, the college commenced operation on 23rd January 2022. Since its inception in Kano, the college has trained 2 sets of student officers and ratings, while the third set will be graduating on the 8th of June, 2023. It is gratifying that most advanced courses in the college, which is the long logistic management course, has been affiliated with the Nigerian Defense Academy for the award of master's degree in logistics and supply chain management to student officers on completion of their 1-year training. It is also pertinent to state that efforts are being concluded to accredit the college as a monotechnic that could run national and higher national diploma courses for service personnel and civilians. I'm happy to state that the two courses, mainly procurement and supply chain management, as well as catering and hospitality management, have been granted provisional accreditation. In addition to this, I'm aware that the Navy is making frantic efforts to ensure that these courses are granted full accreditation in order to commence the national diploma programs soonest. Towards ensuring seamless training activities in the college, and besides the standard remodeling and rehabilitation of the existing structures, the Nigerian Navy has embarked on construction of several projects. These include internal roadwork networks covering the entire college, student and staff accommodation, as well as perimeter fencing for the 103 hectares of the college, amongst others. While some of the structures have been completed and in use, a few others are still under construction, but will be completed as soon as possible. I am indeed optimistic that the Nigerian Navy will not relent until infrastructural projects are completed. In view of the milestone achieved so far, we are all gathered here today to witness the commissioning ceremony of the Nigerian Navy Logistic College to the glory of God. I therefore warmly and respectfully welcome the special guest of honor, Mr. President, and all other distinguished guests to this occasion. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Of the commissioning of the 3,000 capacity ultra-modern custodial facility in Janguza, Kano. Today's event is a watershed as it underscores the commitment of the President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government to fulfilling its promise of delivering on good governance to all Nigerians. This further confirms Mr. President's capacity and tenacity to rewrite the history of justice administration in Nigeria through the total transformation of the critical component of criminal justice administration, which the Nigeria Correctional Service as a prime beneficiary. No doubt, sir, one hallmark of democracy is a viable justice system capable of securing the interests of all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, religion, social status, gender, or political affiliation. With security as a cardinal focus of our administration, the federal government has continued to pay keen attention to those incarcerated, as well as their caregivers. This is in the bid to effectively keep offenders out of circulation, reform them, rehabilitate them, and reintegrate them into the society as responsible persons. For this to be achieved, it was pertinent for the Nigeria Correctional Service to be rebranded and reinvigorated to function well. It was this realization that inspired President Muhammadu Buhari to assent the Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019. The objectives of the law as captured in Section 2, Subsection 1 are: A, ensure compliance with international human rights standards and good correctional practices. B, provide enabling platform for implementation of non-custodial measures.
Recording in progress.
C. Enhance the focus on corrections and promotion of reformation, rehabilitation, and reintegration of offenders. And D. Establish institutional, systemic, and sustainable mechanisms to address the high number of persons awaiting trial. These objectives has already been pursued vigorously by the Nigeria Correctional Service. It's already yielding results and bridging the wide gap that existed in the old system. The idea of a model high-capacity custodial facility of this magnitude was mooted by my predecessor and approved for the geopolitical regions of the country by the president in his first tenure. It was basically to address the serious infrastructure deficit the service has had to grapple with most of the buildings now old, weak, and dilapidated. The atmosphere around the custodial facilities is quite dispiriting, more so bearing in mind the capacity of some of the inmates for mischief, the risk posed by the pre-existing conditions of our holding facilities was grave. Secondly, this humongous project is also intended to solve the problem of overcrowding, especially in the custodial centers located in urban areas. With a current total carrying capacity of 56,663, the service has in its custody over 75,000 inmates, thus overstretching the existing infrastructure. Therefore, it is heartwarming to note that this ultra-modern facility will provide a huge relief to the service as far as overcrowding of inmates is concerned. Furthermore, the structures and unique architecture of this facility will enhance both the procedural and physical security components desirous of a holding facility of this nature. Embedded in this custodial center are component structures including a maximum security custodial center, a medium security custodial center, recreational facilities, workshops, religious worship centers, 5 courtrooms, a hospital, and much more. These component structures were deliberately captured in the original design to address the peculiarities of different categories of inmates and the care they require. The courts especially will permanently solve the problem associated with security and availability of judges. May I at this juncture call on state governments to collaborate with the federal government in ensuring a smooth transition occasioned by the recent amendment in our constitution to take responsibility for the maintenance of their inmates in our facilities. It is important to note that the federal government had over the years solely shouldered the responsibility of catering for all categories of inmates, over 80% of whom are state offenders and predominantly indigenous of the state where these custodial facilities are located. It costs slightly over 1 million naira to maintain an inmate per annum. I will once again admonish the state governments to reform their criminal justice system and expedite the trial of suspects in order to avoid long detention period, which makes the custodial facilities to be disproportionately swarmed by 75% of awaiting trial inmates. To our understanding President, we will remain grateful for your generous support and commitment to revamping public institutions to function optimally. You have supported this project by providing the funds needed and in every other way. I must also say that you have supported the 5 other mega custodial facilities where works are ongoing. You have written your name in gold, sir. in the annals of our history and will be greatly remembered for transforming the correctional service to an enviable height. This ceremony, I dare say, is a wonderful parting gift to Nigerians with great optimism that the incoming administration will build on your legacies and sustain the positive trajectory of your stewardship. I proudly identify with you, sir, and what you stand for, which has brought numerous gains to our country. I must thank also the Controller General of Corrections for his diligence, innovation, and commitment to the task of transforming corrections. I, through him, thank also all the officers and men of the service who continue to work diligently and make sacrifice for the security and safety of all Nigerians. May I again use this opportunity to call on all officers and men of the service to be alive to their responsibilities, as security is a key component of every responsible government. This huge investment of government must be put to the best and most professional use to translate to democratic dividends. I thank also the government and the good people of Kano, particularly the state government, for the continued support for the agencies of the Ministry of Interior in the state and cooperation on all matters of security. While the government will continue to provide infrastructure in needed areas of our national life, I also ask that individuals and corporate organizations participate in the provision of infrastructure to assist in reducing the burden on government. The custodial centers have benefited immensely from the generosity of Nigerians, corporate organizations, and international bodies. But there are still opportunities for further support, such as life academies, vocational training, and healthcare infrastructure in all our custodial centers, which philanthropists can help provide. While thanking the President, I respectfully invite him to commission this iconic project. I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Honorable Minister for Interior. Mr. President, there are two...
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, the Governor of Kano State and the Governor of Kaduna State, who is represented ably. With your kind permission, Mr. President, I would like to adopt the protocols already observed. Mr. President, today is a day of commissioning of some of our most important infrastructure, both soft and hard infrastructure. Mr. President, however, we in aviation would like to use the opportunity to highlight a few of the things that they've done for civil aviation and thank you for that. The terminal building in Kano, Mr. President, is the terminal building that has the capacity for 7 million passengers. This is unprecedented. It will serve the people of Kano, its environs, and the country in general. Users will have the opportunity to have the best facility for passenger facilitation. Mr. President, Kano is the first place in Nigeria where airplane landed, and since then, a center for commerce and trade of over 1,000 years. Civil aviation has not neglected the city of Kano, and therefore citing this humongous project in Kano is most apt. Mr. President, in Zaria is a partnership at the beginning in 1963 with the UNDP, United Nations, and Nigeria. And since then, it has produced 70% of the workforce of civil aviation, from pilots to engineers to air traffic controllers to cabin crew to all forms and manners of staff of aviation. And they've been serving this country for all these years. During your time, Mr. President, you provided Zaria for most of its training needs, as we will see during the commissioning. Mr. President, In the items that you commissioned today, there are 20 trainer aircraft to be procured, and 9 of them have been delivered in Zaria. The significance of this is that it's going to cut 50% of the training needs or training funding of the college, because the aircraft use jet A1 fuel as against the aviation gasoline known as avgas, which is scarce and very prohibitive due to pricing. There are many other things, Mr. President, that are unprecedented there in Zaria, which includes the 737 flying simulator and the fire and smoke training simulator. As you would see, Mr. President, there is an auditorium in place which has been abandoned for 25 years. And today, we are commissioning that auditorium. In the course of 25 years, the contractor absconded, and the contract was re-awarded during your time, and today we are commissioning the auditorium. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, you approved a roadmap. That roadmap has been helping to grow civil aviation in leaps and bounds. You started by, and this is very significant and profound for us, you paid 78 billion naira to the ex-Nigeria Airways workers. At that time, Nigeria was in recession. But you are magnanimous enough to cough out, in a recession period, 78 billion naira to pay the Airways workers, most of whom have died. It was very significant for the world of aviation. We can't thank you enough. So also, Mr. President, there were the issue of block funds, $483 million, which you also paid during the recession. Your commitment to civil aviation, Mr. President, is unparalleled. We are very grateful to you. Mr. President, infrastructure around the country for civil aviation has increased, improved, and has been more than what it had been since amalgamation with this country in 1914. The Abuja runway closure, the Maiduguri total rehabilitation after the insurgents have bombed the airport, the Enugu airport, the low-level wind shear alert system all over our airports, the climate change center in Katsina, safety and security, focused aviation has become the norm during your tenure. We will not forget, Mr. President, how aviation has grown, both in size and capacity, and in efficiency, with focus on safety and security and facilitation or efficiency of the sector. And for that reason, the world of aviation, Mr. President, focused on Nigeria, and therefore came to Abuja a record 5 times to hold conferences and seminars, which included the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO World Aviation Forum, dedicated to financing of aviation infrastructure. There was also remotely piloted aircraft systems symposium, the ACI, Airport Council International Symposium, and all of this, Mr. President, drew some record 320 countries from around the world. And the first, I think, is 170 countries attended. The second, about 100 countries attended, and the third, about 110 countries attended. Mr. President, most of them were at ministerial level. So we hosted about 250 ministers around the world, in a world that has 204 nations. Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. Today, our roadmap is a reality. We have the university, Aerospace and African Aerospace and Aviation University in Zaria. We've commenced. We've concessioned our airports, that of Kano and that of Abuja, and that of Lagos has also been completed, awaiting the court processes. Mr. President, the things are numerous, but of significance is the cargo terminal buildings that were completed in 4 locations, and 7 more to come. And this will change the dynamics and help to ship our cargoes both within the country and outside the country. Finally, Mr. President, there is a belief in civil aviation that aviation doubles in every 15 years. This has been established as scientific, as factual, and as true. But during your tenure, Mr. President, we have debunked that. Nigeria debunked that notion that aviation doubles every 15 years. Within the first 4 years of your administration, the number of passengers had tripled. The number of airports have been doubled. The number of airlines have been doubled. The capacity of civil aviation and the businesses around it have blossomed. Within the first 4 years, civil aviation became the fastest growing sector of the economy. But we were the first also, Mr. President, to develop protocols to exit COVID-19. And we became the second most recovered nation in the world at 111% recovery, after Colombia with 115%. Mr. President, what you have done, history will not forget you easily. So we're very grateful for this. And with this, Mr. President, a few words, I invite you to please kindly commission numerous projects in Zaria and the terminal building in Kano. Thank you very much for the opportunity, Mr. President.
Thank you. Honorable
Ministers that are present here, especially of Interior and Aviation, traditional and religious leaders, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to be commissioning projects, even as I am counting down to handing over in the next 3 days. This time I'm commissioning the Nigerian Navy Logistics College, Dawakin Tufa, a 3,000 capacity ultra-modern custodial center, Janguza, and the new airport terminal building at Malan Aminu Kano International Airport in Kano State, as well as aircraft equipment at Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, Kaduna State. The Nigerian Navy Logistics College, Dawakin Tofa, was relocated 2 years ago from Nigerian Navy Finance and Logistics College at Owerenta in Imo State. The achievements of the college towards capacity development of naval logisticians within the period is commendable and will undoubtedly contribute to the operational readiness of the naval fleet for economic prosperity. The college has been effective in the conduct of internal security along with other security agencies within her area of operations. I would like to appreciate the Kano State government for the assistance given to the Navy for the establishment of this center of learning. I also commend the Chief of Naval Staff and his team for the level of infrastructural development and partnership with other institutions and parastatals within the period the college was relocated to Kano State. On the other hand, the 3,000 capacity ultra-modern custodial center facility in Janguza, Kano State, is both timely and significant. Recognizing the importance of a virile justice system, of which correction is a critical component. The importance of a viable correctional service is critical, not only for executing court sentences, thereby completing the justice process, but also for keeping felons out of circulation, securing the society, and deterring those who intend to act in an antisocial manner. This facility will not only enhance the well-being of inmates, but will engender their safe custody and significantly address the challenge of overcrowding in some custodial centers. The spate of violence, external attacks on some custodial centers across the country in the recent past underscores the need to fortify and take the security of the inmates and staff to be of uttermost importance. I wish to commend the Minister of Interior and the Controller General of Corrections for remaining focused. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, since our assumption in 2015, we have placed high premium on safety, security, and efficiency on air transportation. To achieve this, we embarked on a robust roadmap which has been successfully implemented, resulting in huge growth in the sector, making aviation one of the fastest growing sectors of the economy before COVID-19, according to National Bureau of Statistics. To complement the growth, we constructed 4 new airport terminal buildings at Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Kano. This added over 40 million passenger capacity to our airports. It is our belief that the best safety is a well-trained aviator. Therefore, government focused on Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, with several interventions that transformed and made the college International Civil Aviation Organization's Regional Center of Excellence for Africa. Among the interventions include A, procurement of 20 Diamond training aircraft. B, 9 have so far been paid and delivered. C, Boeing 737 full flight simulator and integrated procedural trainer. D, instrument landing systems. E, automated fire and smoke aircraft training simulator. And F, Magnus aircraft assembly. The components parts for the assembly are being received currently. G, a new auditorium has been built, a new student accommodation purchased, and 250 capacity cafeteria has been built, while the runway is being extended and rebuilt. At this point, let me congratulate the Honorable Minister of Aviation for these laudable achievements. The 4 projects we are commissioning today are critical for this time. I have no doubt that the incoming government, which is also a progressive one, will sustain the tempo of improvement. I am pleased to now commission 1, the Nigerian Navy Logistics College Kintufa in Kano. 2, the 3,000 capacity ultra-modern custodial center Janguza, Kano State. And 3, new airport terminal building at Madan Amini Kano International Airport, as well as 4, modern aircraft equipment and buildings at Nigerian College of Aviation Technology, Zaria, Kaduna State. I thank you all for your attention, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.